So energy is very important to us human beings. We use it every day to ignite our cars for domestic use, like in the kitchen, and we use it also as a raw material to generate electricity and for other industries. And energy sources can be classified into two categories. The first one is renewable energy sources and non-renewable energy sources. And let's talk more about renewable energy sources. Well, renewable energy sources would include nuclear reactors, or nuclear energy basically. And nuclear reactors use the process called fission, and we're gonna get into the details of that later in other videos. And also renewable energy sources would include hydroelectric power. And hydroelectric power is generated from the movement of water, like in falls and dams and stuff like that. Also biomass and biogas, and this is the energy generated from burning dead animals and plants. And lastly, hydrogen as a fuel. And many countries now are researching hydrogen and how they're gonna implement it as a fuel, and it's in action right now. So let's talk more about non-renewable energy sources. Well, that includes crude oil and fossil fuels. And fossil fuel is basically dead animals and plants which have fossilized over 200 million years ago using anaerobic decay, where bacteria, pressure and heat acts on those dead animals and plants, and then we would get fossil fuel. Well, we burn these two using the process of combustion to generate energy. For example, methane reacting with oxygen to give carbon dioxide plus water. And combustion always involves oxygen from the air and generating carbon dioxide and water. This is always without thinking. Combustion always involves oxygen from the air and it yields carbon dioxide and water. Now let's look at how crude oil is refined and what are the different fractions that is generated from the refinement. So how crude oil is refined. Well, let's look. So crude oil is fed here to a fractionating tower where it would generate a refined gas that's used for heating and cooking, and also here there is a residue. And this is often an exam question. The examiner will ask you about the different fractions generated. So there are 6 fractions, and I will try as much as possible to make this easy on you guys. So the first 4 fractions are used in transportation. Okay, the first one is gasoline, which we use in cars. The second one is diesel, which is used in trucks. The third one is kerosene, which is used in jets. And finally, fuel oil, which is used in ships. So the first 4 are used in transportation, okay? So the last 2 we have is naphtha, which is used in making chemicals. Don't need to know what specifically the chemical is, but it's used in chemicals. And lubricating oil, that's used to make waxes. Okay, I know memorization can be a bit tough, but the first 4 is for transportation. If you're stuck in the exam, just think of the different transportation. We have like ships, trucks, cars, and jets. Okay, and the last two, one is used for making chemicals and the other one is used to make waxes. Okay, so lastly, let's talk about the different factors that would make a fuel perfect. Okay, so if it costs less money and is available in high quantities, plus it's easy to transport and not dangerous, also easy to ignite, and finally it would generate high amounts of energy. But unfortunately, not all these factors are present in every energy source, but humans are trying as much as possible to discover more energy sources that would perfectly match those factors. So let's recap. First, we talked about the different energy sources and we classified them into renewable and non-renewable energy sources. And we said that for the non-renewable energy sources, we combust those sources in order to get energy. And later we discussed how is crude oil defined and the different fractions that is generated. And lastly, we talked about the different factors that would make a perfect fuel. So stay tuned for the next videos. We're gonna talk more about the non-renewable energy sources. So stay tuned guys, and good luck.